Hello, yes, okay. Welcome at the Hydrogen Fuel Cells Europe here at Hannovermesse 2022. Please join us for the upcoming interview, have a seat, get some refreshments and enjoy the talk. I'm very much looking forward to the next interview. We will talk about green hydrogen projects, a reality since 2021. And with me on stage, we have the Director of Green Hydrogen from IBERDROLA, Millán García-Tola. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much.
You just flew in today, so I'm really happy that you made it. Especially you made it for the first time
Yes.
to the Hydrogen Fuel Cells Europe. You have a big booth here, IBERDROLA, right behind the public forum. So exciting. Can you talk a bit about what is IBERDROLA doing in the hydrogen market?
Okay, first of all, IBERDROLA's tradition in green electricity and renewable came from 20 years ago when the company decided to turn absolutely upside down their business model from fossil fuel production of electricity to renewable. So as today, we are involved in a very, very ambitious plan of growing of renewables in which we are going to double our capacity that was installed in 2019 from 30 gigawatts of renewables to 60 gigawatts by 2025 and 90 gigawatts by 2030. So that's a challenging for us.
Okay, so for the people that do not know IBERDROLA, it's one of the biggest European energy companies in the market. So it's really good to have you on board with this topic as well. How do you see the role of green hydrogen when we talk about decarbonization?
Okay, green hydrogen is the perfect complement for green electricity. Because why? Because there are some sectors, some uses in which direct electrification is not possible. I mean, in hydrogen as feedstock of fertilizer industry, of refinery industry, and some other chemical processes. So everywhere where gray hydrogen is a feedstock, green hydrogen has an opportunity. Just think about that worldwide, there is a consumption every year of more than 80 million tons of gray hydrogen, which means more or less the same amount of CO2 emitted to the atmosphere like a country like Germany. So the whole production of gray energy, of gray hydrogen worldwide has the same emissions that a country like Germany. So that's for sure a great opportunity for green hydrogen. But thinking in the mid and long term, I see green hydrogen to complement electricity as in heavy transportation, where battery vehicles can reach. I mean, heavy load trucks, trains, and maybe transforming ammonia or in methanol in the maritime and hopefully in aviation. But I think that the huge opportunity for green hydrogen is the thermo-intensive industry, like steel production, cement production, ceramic, those industries that need high temperature into their processes that can't be reached through direct electrification. I mean, 600 degrees or something like that. Green hydrogen replacing natural gas and then avoiding the emission of CO2 could be the solution for those industries to decarbonize their processes.
So just one solution of many possibilities, or how do you see it?
Yes, no, there are a lot, as I said, a lot of solutions. And all of those solutions goes through green hydrogen and, of course, through green and renewable electricity.
Okay. Just that I see is quite full here, so maybe there's already a first question from the audience. If not, you can think about it. We have some more time, so I get back to you later. So how is it? IBERDROLA it's a very large company. How do you think about collaborations and partnerships when we talk about hydrogen, the hydrogen market?
Yes, that's very important. I talk about the advantages, the wonderful about green hydrogen, but the reality is that as today, green hydrogen is not competitive, of course, with grey hydrogen, but by far with natural gas. So we need the collaboration and the partnership of public companies, administrations, customers, because for me, the key of the development of green hydrogen is the demand. I have been talking about all the uses that green hydrogen can have, but we need demand. We need companies that are willing to transition to decarbonize their industries. And unfortunately, today, green hydrogen is more expensive. So first of all, we need the willingness of the off-takers to transform their processes using green hydrogen, and the help of the administrations in the way they want to, because there are a lot of opportunities to help green hydrogen to develop. Through grants, through loans, I don't know, but there is a need for support green hydrogen development.
Okay, it's interesting because it came up several times now in the interviews that it's not a topic or a challenge to tackle by yourself. It's really something that depends on collaborations, especially also with companies, but also with the public sector, to make sure that the right environment or surrounding is installed to actually be able to work in this field. So you also agree with this, or you see that it's going in this direction at the moment?
Yes, as I said, a collaboration. One thing that is very important is that we need stable and clear rules for what's being defined as green hydrogen. Because green hydrogen is not blue hydrogen, by the way. It's not the same, it's not gray hydrogen. So if the world wants to move to green hydrogen, we need a clear and stable framework in which the green hydrogen is going to be produced, associated with green energy as far as it can be.
Okay, so maybe, the title is Green Hydrogen Projects, a reality since 2021. Yes. Can you talk a bit about the projects that you have at the moment?
Yes, this last 2021 was a challenging year for the company. Think about the green hydrogen division in IBERDROLA is a very young unit. We are just 1.5 years old, but in this time we built 2 real projects. We have a small project in Barcelona dedicated to mobility. It's a hydro station in which we are going to supply green hydrogen to the Barcelona municipality fleet of buses. But our star or flagship project is 20 megawatts, one of the biggest electrolyzer plant in the world, that is built in Puerto Llano, 100 kilometers at the south of Madrid, that is dedicated to produce green hydrogen, and it's being supplied to a Spanish fertilizer company. As I said before, fertilizer is one of the natural off-takers of green hydrogen. This plant, as I said before, is able to produce 3,000 tons per year of green hydrogen, and is one of the first real experience of green hydrogen in the world.
That's really exciting. I think also in your booth you can see both projects.
You can see not PPTs, not rendering, but true images from the real projects.
Okay, the real thing, not just imagination. So I see there is a question back there.
The question will be a bit longer. I have to explain. I believe that also from your speech comes that there is no hydrogen future if there is no subsidy or support from the government at this beginning stage. And do you believe in subsidies in CAPEX or OPEX? I will give you some sample that in Poland there was a subsidy from the government for buying the buses, either electricity or hydrogen buses. And the customers did not decide in general, the municipalities did not decide to buy hydrogen buses because there was no hydrogen, so they were afraid of the investment. Yes, there was no safety. And if it could be the subsidy on OPEX, so on price of hydrogen, that would be a kind of demand, much easier. What do you think about that? Do you agree?
My perception is that it depends on the use of the hydrogen plant. Let me explain a little bit deeper. In the case of a hydro station in which there is no baseline production, so for explaining in a different way, the impact of the capex in the cost of hydrogen is crucial, the use of the electrolyzer. So if you use the electrolyzer linked to a PV, so it's used just a third of the hours of the year, the impact of the capex is too high. So that project needs a subsidy to the capex. But once you build a big plant that is going, as in every intensive industry, every intensive use of hydrogen industry, like fertilizer, like refineries, in which they are going to be producing baseline, the impact of the capex in the cost of hydrogen is so low, but the cost of electricity is so high. So those baseline projects need OPEX subsidies.
Thank you for the question and the answer, of course. Other questions from the audience at the moment? Good, then I will continue again. I mean, IBERDROLA is a very large company. You started since 1.5 years in this business. Can you talk or elaborate a bit about the commitment of the company, even though it's still a small business unit, I guess, for IBERDROLA?
Commitment of the company. Commitment and how to say in English, for us is a challenge for the whole company, and the CEO of the company is the first project director of the company. So for us, it's a challenge, and it's very exciting to be in this new unit, because we feel from one side like a startup into the big company, but with the full support and with the full resources of a big company. So we are in an ideal situation. We have both good things of the startup, with the agility and the speediness of decisions, but also with the resources and the background and the backup of a big company.
So it's a very privileged situation because you have the full commitment of the company.
Of course.
Okay, the full power to attack. That's good.
Yes, and full demand.
Full demand
from
as
the
well
company.
from the company.
Yes.
Okay, okay. I mean, we already heard it a few times the last 2 days that the cake is big enough. It's not like, oh, somebody's taking away something from somebody, because it's still a growing market. So that's good. There's enough for everybody.
I wish that the cake should be big enough. The cake is big enough, but it's too high to reach it now. So we need some stairs to reach the cake. And as I said before, it's time of partnership. So it's time of working together between companies. Again, we have some examples of collaboration. Fertiberia, this fertilizer company, H2 Green Steel, with whom we are developing a green steel project in Iberia. So it's about BP. We are working with them in a project in Spain. So it's about partnership. It's about not only sharing risks, but also sharing vision.
I like the analogy that it's just up too high to reach, especially everybody's talking about scaling up the business.
Yes.
So it's like taking small steps to actually reach the top.
We need the electrolyzers companies that will help us also to climb some steps, because we see today that I was since the very beginning of this business, I heard about the fast decrease of cost of green hydrogen. The truth is that my perception is that that's not going to happen in the short term. Because first of all, cost of electricity are not going down. The war in Ukraine has made everything crazy. And the cost of materials and the cost of equipment are also not decreasing. So the reality is that today, I'm sorry to be so bad, but today the cost of a hydrogen plant is more expensive than last year.
Yeah, it's just realistic or stating the facts
It's
at the
realistic,
moment.
I'm sorry,
yes.
but it's truth.
Okay. I ask one more time the audience if there is a question. Otherwise, we'll have the last one. What is the outlook for IBERDROLA? Where is it going? What are the next steps? You just started 1.5 years ago. What's ahead? What's in the future?
Okay, we have a very ambitious plan in green hydrogen, and we have a challenging target for 2030 is to install worldwide 4 gigawatts of electrolyzers. This needs a lot of effort. It's going to need a lot of renewable linked to these electrolyzers. But we see that there are opportunities, and if all the stars were aligned and the administrations really push and help these first days of hydrogen business, and of course with all the companies that are involved, because it's not only about electricity utilities, it's about suppliers, it's about technologies. I think that one of the keys are all the technicians around the hydrogen world. So I think that with the help of everybody, we will reach that target.
That's very nice to hear. I'm very optimistic that this will happen. I also see it this week. Everybody's very positive. It's growing a lot.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being here. Millán, big round of applause for you.
Thank you very much.
If you want to talk further with IBERDROLA or with Millán directly, the booth is right behind. You can't miss it. It's huge. It's green. And it's booth number B50. Thank you for being here.
It's green as our electricity.
Perfect.